Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs sped. Daniel Suarez was slow. Kyle Larson led almost every single lap. I could honestly stop the video there, and that's all you needed to know about tonight. But as you guys know, I like to talk a lot, and sometimes there's deeper meaning to some of this stuff. But playoff elimination race at Bristol, and oh boy, was it a stinker. When I say Kyle Larson led almost every lap, I wasn't making that up. He led 462 out of 500 laps. That's equivalent to 92% of the laps. He literally led almost every single lap. Swept the stages, won the race, 7 playoff points to him. He advances. As for the rest of the race, no playoff drama, no playoff chaos. The only drama was on pit road because Martin Truex Jr. and Ty Gibbs, who had really strong cars, really fast cars, Martin Truex Jr. was in the top 5 most of the day. They had speeding penalties, and a speeding penalty at Bristol, that really hurts you. And in this car, when there's not the tire wear like we had in the spring, it ends your day. Or in these two guys' cases, it ends their championship cases, their championship hopes and dreams. And for Martin Truex Jr., it's his final chance at a championship. So, yeah, speeding penalties are killer. The race tonight was bad. No other way to put it. This race in the spring was fantastic. We had extremely high tire wear. It was fantastic. You had to drive slower to go fast. You know, you had to save your tire, manage your tire. Whereas this race, they brought back the same compound, but somehow, some way, there was nothing on the tire fall off. Nothing on the tire wear, whether it was temperature, whether it was because all 3 series raced this weekend and there was a ton of rubber put down, whether it was the extra PJ1 resin, whatever they put on the bottom lane of the track. I don't know. That's for some engineering, geologist, tireologist to figure out. Maybe they just didn't put the chemicals in the tires like they did in the spring, like Denny Hamlin theorized. But yeah, this is the quickest we've ever gone to this. Let's go to the finishing results. We'll talk about playoff implications in this and also after this. Kyle Larson wins his 5th race of 2024. That's the most in the series. He wins 2 more stages, 7 extra bonus points for the next round. Now, he entered this race in a good position, but if something went wrong early, could have been eliminated. But with the stage 1 victory, it was like, okay, he's going to advance. And then he won stage 2, and it was like, okay, yeah, he's very advanced. And then, of course, he wins the race, so he's super advanced. But bonus points for him, he still leads the playoff standings in terms of the most bonus points. But a Bristol Night Race, it's one of the biggest races of the year, one of the most coveted trophies on the calendar. And Kyle Larson has his 2nd ever Bristol Night Race victory. He obliterated the field. He won this race by 7 freaking seconds. He led 462 laps. He swept the stages. What else do I have to say? He obliterated the field. He drop-kicked the field, threw them over the fence, drop-kicked them again, took them to the top of the grandstands, drop-kicked them one more time for good measure, and watched them fall down the grandstands. Maybe that's too graphic, but I think my point's made. Chase Elliott finished 2nd, ran 2nd for the last 200 laps of this race. His first top 5 since June. Fun fact of the day, unless you're a Chase Elliott fan. I guess that's not such a fun fact. Great day by Bubba Wallace. He was not in the playoff contention, but regardless, a great day. He's had some great runs here before. Really strong run. Top 5, top 10 most of the night. Just really charged up through the field in that last 100 or so laps. Really good run for him. 4th place, Denny Hamlin entered this race 6 points below the cutoff line, and no one was doubting that he could advance. But when you enter the race below the cutoff line, you know it's still a possibility. You can't afford any mistakes whatsoever. Well, Denny Hamlin had won the previous 2 races at this racetrack, has a great track history at Bristol, and very quickly was able to get on top of that 6-point gap. He eliminated that gap in stage 1, I think. He got 5th or 6th in that stage. Stage 2 got more stage points, and then just with the penalties to Truex and Gibbs, I mean, he had a 10 to 15 point buffer the rest of the night. Ran top 5 the entire night as we all expected. Great race by him. And my bold prediction of him being eliminated in the first round has gone horribly wrong. He will now go on to win the championship. 5th place, Christopher Bell. Great race for him. This is a great racetrack for him. He advanced in stage 1. He clinched his spot. Really didn't have to do much. He was like plus 46 entering this race. So he did what he had to do. 6th place, Ryan Blaney. He advances. 7th place, Ryan Preece. Darn good job by him. Good for you, Ryan Preece. He's always known for his short track driving ability. 8th place, Chase Briscoe. Double top 10 in their last race for Stewart-Haas Racing. But Chase Briscoe advances to the round of 12 for him and Stewart-Haas Racing. The dream lives on for at least another 3 weeks. Briscoe entered Watkins Glen minus 21, and he ends up going on to have a great Watkins Glen race, enters this race plus 6, and he holds on. Runs top 10 the entire night, scores some stage points. He did what he was supposed to do. A great job by Chase Briscoe. Alex Bowman started this race on pole, led the most laps by someone not named Kyle Larson, led 34 laps according to this. Ran top 5 at the beginning of this race, slowly slipped back into the back half of the top 10 and just kind of sat there the rest of the race. Really good night for him. Really good round for him. Top 5 at Atlanta. Ran decent at Watkins Glen. I think he got a top 15 there, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then today, top 10. Ran top 10 the entire race. He did what he had to do. He did a great job. He's advanced. 10th, Ross Chastain. Good day for him. Great day for Michael McDowell. Noah Gragson. 3 in the top 12 for Stewart-Haas. Austin Cindric advances. Chris Buescher. Ty Gibbs, our first elimination. Entered this race, minus 6, I want to say? Or was he plus 6? Maybe. He might have been in the plus. Anyways, Ty Gibbs coming to one of his better racetracks, had led 100-plus laps in his last 2 races at Bristol. Very realistic shot that he could have won this thing, or at least run top 5, top 10. Well, he got a speeding penalty. As I said, with how difficult it was to pass, you could run the bottom, you could run the top, but it took forever to pass someone. You were inching just lap by lap, and when these laps are 15, 16 laps, that's like 10, 15, 20 laps it takes to pass someone. That's a death sentence. So Ty Gibbs, he got that speeding penalty while running in the top 10, scoring some stage points early, and that ruined his day. He never had a shot. His closest competition in the points was Daniel Suarez, who was running 31st, 32nd. I don't think he even ran a lap inside the top 30. But with Gibbs' penalty, Suarez ended up surviving. Zane Smith, once again, the second half of the season has really picked it up. Consistently top 20. William Byron survives. Carson Hocevar, Hemrick, Tyler Reddick was irrelevant today, but he survives. Good for him. Austin Dillon, Justin Haley, AJ Allmendinger, Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. One of the tracks he's never won at is Bristol Motor Speedway. He showed speed throughout the weekend, qualified really well, ran top 5 this entire race until the beginning of stage 3 when he had a pit road speeding penalty. They entered this race minus 14 or 15, and they quickly made that up with stage points. He scored 16 or 17 stage points, had a fantastic day. As I said, ran top 5 the majority of the day. But as I said earlier, a speeding penalty in this race, it's a death sentence. It's the end of your day, the end of your hopes and dreams, because once Truex got put in the back, he was stuck there. Ran 24th the rest of the race, couldn't do anything about it. And Martin Truex Jr. in his final season as a full-time NASCAR Cup Series driver fighting for his second championship has been eliminated. There's only one goal now in Martin Truex Jr.'s remaining, 7 races as a Cup Series driver. That is to win a race. Of course, I know he might go part-time next year, run the Daytona 500, but you get my point. To get him and Joe Gibbs Racing one last win. Kyle Busch was irrelevant at one of his best tracks. Brad Keselowski, irrelevant tonight. This is a track historically he's done great at. Finished 3rd here in the spring. Almost won this race 2 years ago. They sucked this weekend, straight up. Qualified poorly, ran poorly, setup was wrong. Once they got pinned a lap down, they had to run an alternate strategy, and that point, that made their bed. With no chaos, with no cautions, they couldn't overcome it. 26th, Brad Keselowski, eliminated. 27th, Stenhouse. 28th, Joey Logano, the only playoff driver to be involved in an on-track incident, but he had already advanced, so who cares? It didn't really matter. His stress starts again next week at Kansas. Josh Berry, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez had almost one of the worst chokes in NASCAR history. Entered this race plus 36 points. All you have to do at plus 36 is don't get involved in an early wreck or run in the 30s the entire race. And what did Daniel Suarez do? He ran in the 30s the entire race. They showed up slow. They qualified slow. They raced slow. Finishes this thing 4 laps down in 31st place. That was a pathetic performance, straight up. Daniel Suarez, yes, he ran 17th to 19th in the points, but 31st is almost unacceptable, okay? I don't care where it is. Daniel Suarez is better than this. Trackhouse is better than this. They advanced, so this race at the end of the day kind of doesn't matter. But for that situation, they are lucky they had such a great run at Atlanta. Okay, they weren't lucky. They did a good job, bagging those points in Atlanta, doing decent enough at Watkins Glen that they could come and drop an absolute generational stinker at Bristol. That was terrible. But ultimately, Suarez survives. He advances. He did enough. As bad as that race was for him, as pathetic as that performance was, they survived. It doesn't matter. Todd Gilliland, John Hunter Nemechek, Josh Bilicki, Harrison Burton had power steering issues early in this race. Actually had decent speed at times. Was running top 20, top 25. But the power steering issue struck. And Harrison Burton, we were also happy for him with the win at Daytona. It was so fun to watch. So cool to see the Wood brothers get their 100th. But at the end of the day, the majority of us knew this was how it was going to end. But at the end of the day, once again, great day for him. I forgot to mention this earlier because I'm so used to doing this at Phoenix at the end of the season, but scroll back to 22nd place real quick. Justin Haley, his final ever race for Rick Ware Racing. What he has done this year in a Rick Ware racing car has been incredible. He got multiple top 10s at non-super speedways, Darlington and Gateway, consistently top 20, well, maybe not consistent, but more than not, it seems like. Great job for him in his 3/4 of a season at Rick Ware Racing. Absolutely incredible, absolutely impressive, super cool, and he moves on to Spire next week. Speaking of Spire, Corey LaJoie, 36, was running top 15 in this race, was actually doing a decent job, qualified really well, was running really well, and then he got wrecked. Or he wrecked himself, really. And, that was Corey LaJoie's last race in the Spire car before he goes to Rick Ware Racing next week. And then Kaz Gralla finished 37th. So, that means your NASCAR playoff drivers in the 2024 round of 12 are Daniel Suarez, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Austin Cindric, Alex Bowman, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Chase Briscoe. That means that, we go to Kansas next week. This next round is an invert of this round. This round was wild card, normal. Well, this next round is normal, wild card. So we'll see how Kansas goes next week. Kansas, one of the best tracks on the schedule in this next-gen car. I'm expecting a 10 out of 10 race next week. But this was a disappointing one. This was a massively disappointing one. The Bristol Night Race, one of the most anticipated races of the year after that great race we got in the spring. But just no tire wear tonight. Nothing exciting, not even a little bit of playoff drama. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. Shocked I blabbed as long as I did, but it's me, I guess. So, see you on Monday for the Monday after. We got an early morning for F1 tomorrow, so I got to get to bed for that. I already stayed up too late last night watching Pac-12 After Dark, and now we move on to F1.